Hello and welcome to The Great Everything. It's the 2nd of March, and today in culture we are celebrating the birthday, in 1824, of the composer Smetana, the father of Czech music. And get ready to listen to one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever composed. Very few musicians had Smetana's ability to tap into music's power to conjure up vivid pictures. His masterpiece, Vlast, is like a painting in music, depicting his land, Bohemia, which is a part of modern-day Czech Republic. Smetana was a pioneer of what's known as music nationalism, a proud Czech in a time where his country was under the foreign domination of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. This was a weird time in Europe. In 1848, there's a whole wave of revolutions across the continent. These are people fighting for independence. The French Revolution had given Europeans a taste of freedom, and they're fed up of being ruled by foreign kings and emperors. So this was nationalism, but not in the modern sense. This was about freedom and autonomy from foreign rule. But if you've heard of 1848, you know it's called the year of failed revolutions, so it didn't end well. The imperialists won, and separatist movements were outlawed. And so nationalist sentiment moved to expressing itself in the arts. And in music, you start seeing local folk tunes turn up in classical compositions. This is a time when you hear music and you can say, oh, that's where the composer's from. You couldn't say this about the old guys like Mozart and Handel because there's nothing specifically national about them. And this is what Smetana pioneered. There's this story of an argument between Smetana and a Viennese conductor, von Herbeck, who sneered at him saying that the Czechs have only ever produced fiddlers and never a piece of real Czech music. This argument inspired Smetana to swear an oath that he would create a piece of native Czech music. And Ma vlast, which means my country, is that music. It's a symphonic poem, and although there's no words, it's still telling a story about Bohemia's history, its landscape, and its people. The first movement, Vyšehrad, the old castle, tells about the mythical glory days when Czechs were ruled by Czechs. It depicts ancient bards and castles and great battles and their final ruin. It opens with harps, the ones that you heard at the beginning of this segment. And these harps give the idea of a story about to be told about these ancient events and how they unfolded. And the theme played is the Vyšehrad theme, about the glory of the ancient days. The second movement, Vltava, the Moldau River, is one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard. It's inspired by old folk tunes, which, by the way, were also used to create the Israeli national anthem. And it simply depicts the course of the river, but so vividly, it's like it takes you on a trip from its beginning to its end. Here's Smetana's description. The river begins as two brooks, one cold, the other warm, and they join in a stream that runs through forests and meadows and the lovely countryside where merry feasts and festivals are being celebrated. By the light of the moon, a dance of water nymphs. On the nearby cliffs, proud castles, mansions, and ruins rise up. And here you know the river is passing by the ancient castle because that glory theme, Vyšehrad, is reprised, painting with music. Now I'm going to leave you with the beginning of the river, with those two streams represented by a flute and a clarinet, merging into the famous river. Close your eyes for a moment and take a trip down the Vltava River. I'll meet you at the end of it with more of The Great Everything.